Okay, hello. So, welcome to my little fracture A site default behind the pillar, behind the little box lineup guide. So, I have multiple lineups for this exact spot here, and preferably you want to place the spike
Got the
right
spike.
behind
Spike
this
dropped.
wall bangable box because it makes it easier for you to retake or anything. But generally speaking, if you want to plant it on default, right, it's on the premise that your team has already has the site and you have a man advantage compared to the enemy. But if let's say you are like at a single man, you have more enemies than on your team, then I would not recommend to plant it behind this box because it is very difficult to retake the spot once you are playing post plant. Now, okay, let's go to the first spot that I want to showcase for this build. This one is more of the most easiest one to do. Nah, not really, it's not easiest. It's actually one of the more harder ones because what you need to do is you need to look for this line in particular and you need to walk into it. And after you walk into it, you will have to notice that there is a hole in the ceiling. And what you're going to do is that you're going to shoot the molly through this hole and make it land on the point. But the difficulty in this shot is that you need to line up your bottom left of your HUD line together with this particular line, okay? This 1, 2, 3, this line, okay? So what is this? You want to pull out your molly icon and you want to line it up at the bottom there, right there, at the very tippy top, okay? You want to line it there and then you want to pull it out by a couple of pixels. This one is very pixel perfect and the execution is also difficult in the sense that you have to do a jump, but not just any jump. You have to jump and then only fire the molly when you reach the apex of your jump. So you don't jump fire, that will cause it to bounce on the inside. You need to jump,
Molly.
then fire. You need to jump, fire, or and delay it for a second. For half a second actually. You can't just jump fire or else it'll bounce off like this. You don't want this to happen. What you want to do is you want to jump
Molly.
and only fire the molly at the apex of your jump. Now let's see it land. It will bounce on the inside and it will land on here directly, covering both here and here. It's a very simple and stable lineup. Now for an actual easier lineup, what you can do is you can come onto these boxes over here, these barrels, and you can scoot yourself over a little bit until you see this stairs. You want to see parts of the stair, you want to aim on the middle. Okay, the middle of these stairs. You just aim around here.
Molly.
This will immediately cause the bomb to insta-pop, but this is also a very risky position because enemies are very easy. It's very easy for your enemies to peek and shoot you. That's why you need to have a modicum of you need to be careful when you do this one. Simply said and done. Now for the next one, I'd like you to come over into this corner and notice there are two corners here. There's one over here and there's one over here. You want to go into this corner particular, like you can just wedge yourself into this corner. Okay, and now this one is a little bit more of a difficult one to pull off because what you want to do is you want to remember this corner. This corner will be the important part that you want to line up with, okay? So what you want to do is you want to notice on your molly icon there's a dot and there's a crosshair on above it, right? You want to aim it in between those two parts. If you aim it on top, if you aim it exactly at the dot, it will miss. If you aim it below, it will also miss. You want it to be exactly in between the dot and the crosshair. Now you fire the molly, you don't have to jump, you don't have to do any fancy knickknacks. And then this one will take about like, I don't know, 5-6 seconds to land. They will land and cover both areas. It's very simple. Okay? Now, another one from A-side spawn. This one is something that I found myself recently. Where I just walk into this thing. They'll have a little bit of jankness to it. But generally speaking, as long as you walk into it, it'll automatically align itself. And what you want to do is, again, we're going to use the building, but this time we're going to use the left side of it. The left of this thing, you want to use this. And you want to line up the dot of your molly icon like the molly icon above the crosshair, molly crosshair, there's a little dot. You want to molly, you want to aim it there. You can't aim any lower, you can't aim any higher, or else it will miss. And more importantly, you can't use this one as a guideline when you ulti it, because if you ulti it,
open up the sky. My ult's ready.
your marker is gone. So what I would recommend is that you can also use the 5th line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you line the bottom of your crosshair, molly crosshair, on the 5th line, exactly on the 5th line, and go a little bit to the right, just a little bit to the right. Okay, you can't exceed the left side of that line. You have to go to the right a little bit. Okay, so what that will look like is that preferably you want to aim your molly first and then use your
Open
ultimate.
up the sky. My ult's
Fire
ready.
the molly. And because this molly takes a long time for it to actually land, it's better if you fire the molly immediately after you use your ultimate, because there's still 2 seconds or 3 seconds in between that the enemy can try and defuse the bomb. And it takes around 2 seconds for your molly to kill the enemy after it has landed. So it's preferable that you immediately fire your molly after you use your ultimate. Now coming over the dish, there is a way that you can fire the lineup from dish. What you want to do is walk into this pillar here. There's 2 pillars. You want to walk into this one. You want to walk into it, crouch, turn around. Notice that you're very exposed, right? So I would recommend only using this molly lineup when you are smoked
Launching
off by the
smoke.
enemy like this. And what you want to do is you want to focus on this line. This line, and you want to synchronize, you want to line it up with the molly icon line, with that one. Exactly that line. You fire it, it'll bounce once, land perfectly on the bomb. And this one lands super fast, so you can even wait 1 second after the enemy has started defusing before you fire it.
Molly.
See, insta-pops lands very beautifully. Now for my last lineup, this lineup is even more finicky. Okay, so what you want to do is walk into this corner, and you want to look for this thing. This part of the dish, you see this little corner of this edge? You want to line up the edge of your icon here. And this one has to be pretty damn precise. Okay, this one is a pixel perfect lineup because it bounces off the back wall.
Molly.
And this one will bounce here. And land here. Okay? So it'll land exactly here. Alright? Now generally speaking, it's a lot harder for you to, after you plant the bomb here, it's a little bit more difficult to get in this position. Because most of the times the enemies will be pushing from here and here and here. And even there will be times when the enemies pushing from here. So what I would recommend instead is that you can advise your teammates to plant for default, and then you can hide in this particular corner. You can hide around here, watch for flanks, or you can even push out this area and prevent the enemy from taking it, and then set up yourself, because you can take the ultimate orb. The ultimate orb is very useful, so you can use this, and you can just fire the orb.
Open up the sky! My ult's Molly!
This one is also preferable that you immediately fire it after your ultimate. But the one from before, the insta-pop one, this one is much more useful because you can just immediately fire it when you hear the tap. When you hear a tap, it will instantly pop after 2 seconds. So this one lands very quickly, so that's fine. Generally speaking, the closer you are to the bomb, the more leeway you have. Now another one that you can do is that you can look for these lines in the wall here. And what you want to notice is that you want to line up until these 2 lines meet up. These 2 lines intersect, okay? Now you want to aim to the right until your crosshair is above. It exceeds the wall line, okay? It exceeds here. You can't go too high. You have to be exactly parallel with this line, okay? So you want to aim here. And you want to make sure that your molly bounces off this wall. So you want to aim like this, come over here to the right, and you fire the molly. Boom shakalaka. Okay? So these will be all of the default lineups that I have. I'm not sure if there are any more. The one from over here is courtesy of Smack server, but the rest are pretty much I found these lineups myself. So do enjoy it to your heart's content. And if you got any questions or things you want to ask in general, like why would you want to plant here, rotation, game sense, and all that kind of things, you can go ahead and ask me in the comments and I'll try to make a video about it. Alright? Doodles.